Welcome, you guys. Thank you very much for coming to my channel. My name is Emily Gear. I am a multi-dimensional channel and transformative energy healer. And I am going to do let's call it this. We're going to call this messages for the full moon in Aquarius, which is taking place on August 15th, 2019. It's the Sturgeon full moon. And I'm just kind of, I'm really trying to find my way here on YouTube. And even as a healer, even though I've been doing this a long time, your work, your skills, your gifts, they all grow and expand and change. And I just want to stay very true to my role as a healer and my role as a channel. And so even though I'm doing this for the full moon and the energies that are coming through for the full moon, I'm very much honoring the channeled messages that come in as well, which are usually based upon high dimensional healing. Okay, so it's not talking about astrology. It's not always super exciting relationship information or anything like that, but they are the messages that are true to me. So I want to provide that to you guys, because if you are resonating with my messages, then there's something here for you. Okay. So with that said, I did pull a few cards already to get us started. And the first one that came out felt so appropriate. In this particular deck, they have a card called the Artist. And the Artist to me feels a little bit like the Magician, but with a sort of softer, more creative tone. Obviously, it's the Artist, right? It also feels very much like Aquarius, or Aquarius with some Pisces in it. So it feels very appropriate. It feels like an adventurer, like someone who takes higher dimensional adventures, someone who is astral traveling, someone who is maybe even creating work or works or relationships or something based upon these higher, their higher guidance, whether they know that's what they're doing or not. Okay, I am one of those people who is so, I'm very, very much guided and always have been my whole life, but I've not always been fully clairaudient or fully clairvoyant, or didn't know that I was. And so it's like, it looks like I have impeccable timing, but the Artist to me feels like the kind of person who lives their life like that. Like they might not know they're getting divine messages, but they are staying true to themselves. They're staying true to their guidance and where their heart is pulling them. Essentially, the message I just gave you about my own work, oddly enough, I did not plan that. But this is somebody who is not only the creator of art, but the creator of their own life in an inspired way. It's being inspired. And this card came out just before the Hermit with the Three of Pentacles. And for me, this really feels to me like we have done a tremendous amount of internal work. There has been balancing, there has been clearing, there has been integrating and sort of alchemizing the opposing energies within us, right? Because that's the way this works. We don't get rid of one or the other, we have to bring them together. And it has succeeded in essentially, teaching us a higher level of existence, teaching us more of who we are, why we're here, what we're here to do. I think a lot of you, all of you, have received some life-changing revelations through the last month and a half, I would say, at least since the start of the summer. And particularly centered around the eclipses, and then the new moon that came in, and then the Lion's Gate. It's just one thing after another, and it's all been very transformational. and you have succeeded in a sense in building your cathedral, or making a lot of progress in building your cathedral to the sky, so to speak. You don't see it in this card, but in the traditional tarot, it is an artisan who is working on the details of a huge Gothic church. Okay. So this is also about learning. It is about artistry. It is about higher learning. To me, it's about reaching for our highest potential. And it can also be about doing that in community, which is actually interesting as well, because I feel like there has been a great pull of community members together during this time, whether it's on the political stage or like in your neighborhood or within your school or within your soul group, within your, I don't know, professional group, whatever it is. You're going to see that there has been gelling and pulling together of different groups. And that is because people are seeing more clearly who they are and what they're doing. You know, I hate using words like what you're supposed to be doing, because that feels to me like sort of a faded kind of energy. And I feel like our lives are so much more to that. There's an aspect of that, but our lives are so much more than that. So excuse me when I use words that, you know, language fails us so often. You know, some of the ideas and the feelings that come through in the channelings, you cannot put words to them. And I do my best, but it's not always perfect. So that said, which is interesting because we pulled the artist first. What does the artist do? I mean, there are all kinds of artists, but thinking of visual art, what does the artist do but depict the things that you cannot put words to? You know, there are no words, essentially, what the artist does. So, unless you use words in your art, as I do. But anyway, it's a metaphor. This is following this massive time of self-discovery and learning, okay? And this is almost unleashing the learning that you have done during this period. I just felt a huge heart opening. So it's an exciting period of beginning, of initiation, of launching, all kinds of things beginning, and they're beginning from a new platform, okay? Like as opposed to the sort of 3D platform you might have been working on before. This is sort of elevated. This is another level up. Now, I'm not saying that, you know, anybody's better than anyone else, or that, you know, you've reached your potential, there will be no more growth. You are always growing, and that is what I've said this 100 times, so forgive me for repeating myself, but that is what excites me about life, is you are never done growing, experiencing things, seeing things from a different perspective. In fact, if you watch my videos from a year ago, the perspectives that I expressed then have grown with me. You know what I mean? So I can only understand things via my human experience and my soul's experience, wherever that has been. And so can you. So know that through this experience that we have been through recently, we have achieved a high level of soul growth, so that we are now creating our experiences from a different platform. Okay. Know also, so the next thing that came out is the Knight of Cups with the Eight of Swords and the Ten of Cups. Okay. I feel like, you know, I want to make the generalization that everyone's looking for fulfillment. I can't imagine anybody who would not love to feel completely fulfilled in their life, okay, whether they admit it or not. And that is, to a degree, the journey that we're on. We think that it's work, but what we are really trying to achieve is knowing ourselves to the extent that we are able to completely fulfill ourselves. And in the process of doing that, then you begin to attract in the external fulfillment as well. You know me, and you know I'm about to tell you that if all you're after is external fulfillment, the person that makes your life perfect, the house that makes your life perfect, the job that makes your life perfect, you don't find it until you find the inner fulfillment. And that is because that's the baseline. You have to at least, and some of these things can come into fruition together. Sometimes they're developing in tandem, like this sort of, they're showing me like a DNA helix, and that's okay. But just know that you need to focus in on the self before, you find the full spectrum of what it is that you're, quote, meant to experience in this lifetime as far as fulfillment's concerned. And what you're capable of is really what that comes down to, Why stop before you reach what you're capable of when it comes to fulfillment, right? So there are a lot of people, of us, who are now with these new skills, with this newly opened pathway, with this newly elevated platform, with these new ideas, with this newfound courage, with this newfound hope, whatever it is for you, or all of those things. Hope seems to be playing in very, very heavily right now. So I hope that you are feeling a greater degree of hope. We are setting off on a new journey, okay? And it is the process of breaking out, continuing to break out of the structures that we have built around ourselves, which keep us locked in place. That's going to be different for every person. I have absolutely found that for me, so much of it is based on self-judgment. Before I started on this journey, I did not know how many times a day I made a judgment about myself and not being good enough, or not doing a good enough job, or not being okay, or not working hard enough, not being everything to everyone, needing to save the day all the time. I actually talked myself out of doing that in a different situation tonight, because it's like, Emily, you're not a bad person if you don't fix everything for everyone. In fact, we call that codependency. Anyway, or other things. But in any case, we'll get off me. Off the topic of me. We all have different things that have been holding us back. So many of us are in that self-judgment place. Some of us are in this place of like trying desperately to hold on to things that no longer serve us, like relationships, because you think for some reason without them you are nothing, or you're not good enough, or you'll never find someone else. Or maybe it's, really obsessing over having a certain amount of money, or needing to have a certain amount of money to feel safe. It all depends on the lessons that your soul chose to experience in this lifetime, okay? And it might be lessons that you've experienced lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, because it's coming to a head in this very important time. Now, my conscious mind is not experiencing all of my lifetimes to know and compare the differences between this time and other times. But I will say that it has been channeled to me that this particular time in the history of the universe is incredibly important for all of us human beings, okay? And so you should know that there's a reason that you're experiencing these awakenings and these shifts and these changes and this growth pattern right now, and not 2 years ago. I mean, you probably were on the way 2 years ago. Honestly, when I think of all the things that happened to me 2 years ago, I'm like, oh, that was preparing me for this, and now I get it. So we are setting up, we are still in the process of breaking those chains, but we really are moving forward. I feel like this is a time of great hope, great excitement, propulsion forward into potentially the unknown, into this sort of lightning age of Aquarius. They just put that out of my mouth. We're talking about the Aquarius full moon. It also is the age of Aquarius. And so they're saying that we have a greater ability than ever before to fully achieve our potential than maybe we have had in past lifetimes, in other times in our lives. This is extremely important, okay? Now, another important point, though, is not to allow that This is what I do, not to allow that to create anxiety or a fear that you're not doing enough or a fear that you're not keeping up. That is not the point. The point is to experience your journey in the way that it's happening for you. That's the artist. The artist creates from the depths of their internal landscape, okay? Not anybody else's landscape, not anybody else's ideas or anything else. You're creating your reality with a sensitivity toward what is being presented to you, what you specifically have and specially have to offer to yourself, your society, your culture, your family, your friends, your whatever, okay? Workplace, any of that stuff. And so you're creating from that place, from your uniqueness, from your originality. Makes sense. Again, they're just channeling this through, like, I'm not really bringing this back to Aquarius, but they've just said that. So it makes sense because we're talking about a full moon in Aquarius, right? The unicorn, the unique individual, the freaking alien. Both of my parents, my best friend from high school, and my best friend from high school are all Aquarians. So I have grown up surrounded by aliens. And it's awesome because they're very unique and have helped to shape me as a unique individual myself. I think my sister's Aquarius rising actually also, but in any case, so I'm going to pull some more cards, but the fullness, the full moon is a time of releasing, right? So here we are, like, it's almost like off to the races, releasing into this period of using what we've learned to truly develop and mature the individual that we are, okay? Creating the masterpiece of the rest of our lives. And it's way bigger than just our lives. I'm using that again because words fail me. Words fail me here to the hugeness of what this is. This is the masterpiece of every atom of your body, every thought form, every emotion, every tiny molecule, everything about you and inside of you and everything that has taken place in your life. It is so unbelievably perfect. You would just die. I mean, if you think about it, it raises your vibration right away. There are no mistakes, you guys. You have not been making mistakes. You have been creating the situations in which you are learning who you are. Okay? All right, let's see what else wants to come out here. What other energies, what other healing messages do you have, Source, for the collective, for the full moon in Aquarius? All right, we've got the Emperor. What else wants to come out? Okay, they're saying a message for the Divine Masculine. So, okay. The Emperor with the World. There's a big shift for the Divine Masculine at this time, the Divine Masculine within us, and those and the people also embodying that energy. So here we have the Emperor with the World and the Six of Coins, or Six of Pentacles. This makes a lot of sense because there is a profound balancing out of all of the bullshit that got shaken loose. All those images that I was seeing of, like, it's like a jar of dirt and rocks, and it had settled to the bottom, and then the eclipses came along and shook the damn thing up. So it took some time then to filter out the pieces that are no longer serving, right? Whether it's within us or within those who are embodying the Divine Masculine energy. And it takes time to come back into a state of balance. But after you've removed all the crap, it's a greater state of balance than you might have been in before the shakeup occurred, right? The shakeup helped to end cycles which have been waiting to be ended. And again, everything is so perfectly orchestrated. It has come about in exactly the right timing, and everything has come about in exactly the right way. So if you have been through a really challenging time where there has been job loss, or there has been a switching of career, or there has been, sorry, the light is weird, or there has been the change in a relationship status, the loss of a relationship, the loss of a loved one, period, from the physical world. Any of those things are cycles that close they're simply meant to be. You know, they contribute to the artistry that is your life. And I don't mean to sound flippant about someone passing away or losing, leaving a marriage or a significant relationship or losing a job when you're supporting a family. I don't mean to sound flippant about that. But I do know that all the things that happen in our lives serve to place us in a position where we are forced to look at who we are and react to it. We have choices on how we react to it, and that is how we discover who we are and what our potential is, okay? Just huge shifts on the divine masculine side. My entire right side is buzzing right now. And I believe it is, looking at this world card and seeing this woman here, even though this card doesn't for me typically represent the divine feminine, she's reaching toward him. And I feel like the feminine has, in whatever way, whether you're resonate with like the sort of divine compliments or not everybody does. It's totally fine. This is within you too. Your feminine side has been supporting your masculine side through this, or you, if you are a twin, have been supporting your masculine through this on the energetic level, of course. Creating a balance. It's creating a balance. They have retreated for a while. The feminine has supported in her feminine way, which is not to push, ideally to be receptive, because by being receptive, by receiving, you give, if that makes sense. What else do they want to say here? That has helped to close different timelines, collapse them down, so that you're no longer on exactly the same path, either with this person or within yourself that you were. If you did make the choices that were in your highest and best good, then those timelines have collapsed down. You're on a new path. In a positive direction. I hesitate to add words like positive or good or the right, because that implies a judgment. And I truly believe that everything that happens in our lives serves a purpose, and therefore none are really better than the other. But we can say potentially that this gets us there more quickly. Okay. This allows that we do not have to keep repeating lessons. We have closed those down and we have moved on. All right. And so this has happened on our masculine side, or for the masculine collective, with the support of the feminine and with the support of their own feminine half of their own energy structure. Okay. And that is that at some point they receded back and allowed themselves to receive information, healing. This might not have been consciously at all. In fact, it probably wasn't, because we're talking about the feminine. So it was in the subconscious, the unconscious. And some of it probably did come to the conscious mind. I do believe that a lot of people had a lot of very conscious realizations, but a lot of subconscious and unconscious work took place during this summer. And that has created a certain new level, like I would keep saying, a new platform, a new level of balance that we did not have before. Yeah, here you go. 4 of Wands. This is your balance. This is your balance between the masculine and feminine. This is your harmony, is the word they're saying, harmony, within yourself, internally, and reaching for it externally. And by reaching, I hope you are not literally reaching, because as I have mentioned a number of times, we are being asked to sit back and receive, to really tune into that feminine nature in all of us, whether you are masculine or feminine, that feminine nature within all of us, to receive this, okay? Doesn't mean never any action, but take the actions you're guided to take. Otherwise, get your fucking hands out of the pot. You know what I mean? Like stop trying to force it, okay? This is so guided and protected, it's unreal. I just keep getting that message. Okay, what other messages? How much time have we been? We're about Our time's about up. So let me get one more message for the collective, and then we'll move on. We'll close it with some oracle cards. One more message, please. Healing message for the collective regarding the Aquarius full moon, please. I'm hearing the words right now which don't seem to match the cards at the moment, but I'm going to say them anyway. Don't get distracted. Don't get intimidated. Okay, by any of the stuff that comes up. Don't be afraid. Don't get distracted. Okay, that's important to know. Strength card just popped out, which makes sense. Don't get distracted. Don't get intimidated. Reach for your internal strength for this process, this continued forward motion. This next cycle of growth depends on your ability to drop the way that you might have judged things or feared things, the judgment you have placed on things in the past, and allowing yourself to move forward with a sense of faith, empowerment, and determination. It's almost the feeling of the Fool card if the Fool card were like the Knight of Wands or something. So there's a sense of full speed ahead. There's a sense of adventure. There's a sense of power. But there's also a sense of blind faith. And that means to sort of relax your need to... This also came out, the Two of Coins. Relax your need to constantly evaluate and reevaluate and juggle and test and worry about. And, you've got to take, I'm hearing some books says that the meaning of this card is take a more lighthearted approach. I think it's one of the Doreen Virtue cards says that on there for this card. And I'm being reminded of that right now because that's the message. Take a more lighthearted approach. That's going to get you a lot farther than investigating every move you make, every feeling you have. Be aware, okay? Don't do spiritual bypassing. Be aware, but take a more lighthearted approach to everything. That makes total sense with Aquarius, with the Artist card that has come up here. And then the next card that has come up is the Page of Cups, which frankly makes tons of sense given the messages that just came out, because this to me is one of my inner child cards. This is probably the key to the continued development during this period, is to continue to access the innocence, the playfulness, the joy, the honesty, the blatant honesty of the inner child, okay? And there's a receptive, there's a giving and receiving quality to this, right? The hand is held out as if to give, but it's also a cup which receives and holds. So to me, it feels like the ideal divine balance that we have as the divine child. And to me, that Aquarian energy is somewhat the same because it sees us all as the same. It sees us all as equal. It sees us all as worthy and capable, okay? And unique and beautiful and loved. So that's the kind of energy I want you guys to tap into for at least the next 2 weeks, at least until we hit the next new moon cycle. There's a lot ahead of you, and there is going to be some internal strength involved. I don't want to lie to you and say it's going to be easy. It will not always be easy. But it is actually about continuing to break the chains, continuing to break down the boundaries and the sort of stone castles around you, stone walls around you, to bring yourself to a place of greater, they're saying intimate contact, not like emotional intimate contact is what I mean. which is interesting because that is not Aquarius's strength. But the point is becoming open enough in order to receive that. Okay. Okay. The Ice Queen just came out before, which to me feels a lot like remembering that breakdown of the walls, the stone castles or the stone walls, and allowing the greater emotional depth and contact. A transformation is coming in here, which also makes a lot of sense. We have been through an incredibly transformative period. This feels like the just desserts following that transformative period. However, there is continued transformation. There's almost it's almost like trying to understand the feeling that I'm getting. It's a certain high level expansion. Like you've gone to a certain place through your healing, through this very difficult dark night of the soul, through purging and cleansing and releasing. And now you're at a place where you can like blast off. Okay. And that's the kind of transformational energy that I am feeling, at least for the next week or two. Okay. Any final thoughts for the collective on this full moon in Aquarius? Attachment. Continue to release those binding attachments. I talked about that roughly 3 times in this reading. Anything that is keeping you boxed in, the things that you're attached to, old belief systems, self-judgment. Old belief systems and self-judgment are pretty much 2 of the biggest things that everything falls into, okay? If you're worried about money in some way, it falls into your belief system. If you think that you can't survive without, your current partner, somehow it falls into either a belief system or your self-criticism. You know what I mean? And the self-criticism probably actually does come down to a belief system. So at the end of the day, it's like we need to absorb that Aquarian energy of having no bounds on our belief systems. Harmonic resolution, transmutation, taking all of that old energy and allowing it to become converted. That is not a hard process. You simply ask for it to be so. I ask the highest light beings, I ask Source to transmute energy on my behalf. And that's obviously part of my healing process, the healing process that I use for my clients, but it's also something I do for myself every day. So we're transmuting energy, we're changing it within ourselves, and we're also serving as a battery to sort of, or generator or transforming device for those around us. Many of us are anyway, maybe not everyone. So a continued time of incredible change requiring us to open our minds in ways that we have not necessarily done in the past. If we do that, then we have allowed certain timelines to collapse and a lot of things speed up in our lives toward whatever your soul's mission is on this earth. Okay. I don't want to make guesses about what that is because that's going to be different for everybody. I hope this was helpful, you guys. Please let me know in the comments. Sorry, I drifted off for a moment. And your comments help me a lot. Honestly, I've been away for roughly a week. I have been having migraines. I have been exhausted. I have been wondering if this even matters to anyone. And I do get amazing comments from some of you. So I thank you guys who are bothering to do that, for doing that. I need to know that this is helping, that the time I am spending on this is meaningful to you. So please, please do let me know. And frankly, if something just isn't working, if something just doesn't seem right, or if you have a question about something, post that too. I mean, don't be a jerk about it, but I am totally open to feedback. Thank think that's about it for today, guys. Sorry to end this super awkwardly. I appreciate you all being here, and thank you so much for your likes and subscribes and your shares. If you do want a private session with me, I have some space in the following 2 weeks, but a lot of my space is booked up. And so you're looking at the end of August at this point. But take a look at what I have available. And you can do that on my website, which is IamEmilyGear.com. Otherwise, I will see you next time, guys. Thank you so much. Bye.